Commiserations on the defeat. Don, talk to me, bro. Another abject performance, a red card. Not Kukurea. Kukurea and Koulibaly, awful again. What went wrong tonight?
Just the same story, Terry, man. It's the same thing. We've got too many holes in this team right now that we need to fill. We've got nothing up top. You can see we had two players today playing up top who aren't strikers. I thought we started the game quite well, to be fair, in the first 15 minutes. We were imposing ourselves. We had a quick counter there when Felix, if he was a better finisher, if he was an actual striker, maybe he would have had a better chance, finishing that shot, that opportunity that he had. But after that, it was just the same old, really. There was no fight. We were losing all the second battles. Fofana was poor. I think that early yellow card did not help him at all. He was all over the place. Of course, when we played at 5-3-2 today, you had Reece James, who was sort of leaving Fofana quite isolated, and the fact that he had that yellow card, you could see, was quite shaky because Vinicius, he's a top player. He's the best left wing, I would say, in the world right now, barring Mbappe. So yeah, it just wasn't a good day in the office. But again, I said before the game in the group chat, we had to have 8 out of 10 from every single person today, and we just didn't get that. Same old from Kepa again. How many times is this guy going to get beaten from outside of the box, Terry? I've lost count. It's every game this guy gets violated. We cannot keep this man at this club past next season because I can't even trust him as a bench warmer, really, because he'll find a way to worm his way back into the team. And I'm not saying today was on Kepa, but again, it just goes back to the same thing. We're going to have the same conversations about the same players all the time. Koulibaly was good. I thought he was quite good. But again, you've got Cucurella. When he plays left centre back, he's just so small. He's not as tall as Badiashile. He's not as tall or physical as Koulibaly. He is a wing back. His first instinct all the time is to always jump up for the ball like a wing back would when it's playing at left centre back. What that does, Terry, is it opens up that space. That's why you saw Ben Chilwell trying to cover that space and just getting sent off the way he did because I'm lost for words, man. I'm speechless. What it is right now is that I'm done. I'm done with this season. I'm waiting for next season so we can reset, get the deadwood out of this club, and just get a manager and go again. I'm just happy that it wasn't worse than 2-0 because, to be honest with you, Real Madrid were not in third gear today. I feel like we didn't get out of second gear, to be honest. We were quite poor. Apart from the first 15, 20 minutes, we did fuck all. We did nothing. Nothing at all. I didn't know where a goal was going to come from. This is 4 games in a row now where we haven't scored a goal. So, bridge or not, we ain't scoring next week. We are not scoring against Madrid next week. We're out. Yeah, we're out. And the only positive that I take from it is the fact that when we do go out, at least Real Madrid will give City a game because City will just beat us again. They're beating us every single game that we played them since the Champions League final. So, yeah, man, I've checked out. I've checked out completely. We're out. I just don't see how we're going to come back now at all. We don't have anything up front at all. It's done.
Bro, and I get the frustration. Since the return after the World Cup, 5 wins. 5 wins in like 4 months of football is crazy. Matt, how are you feeling after that today, bro?
I'm just hoping he gets smashed 4-0, to be honest with you, because again, it's the same thing. Don spoke about the game, pretty much what I was going to say. Pretty much, I look at these players and I look at Reece James. Shocking game. What happened? This guy in his new pink boots couldn't get anything past. He couldn't get it one pass football. Couldn't defend. He kept slipping. It just wasn't him today. He wasn't him. Chill on the other side wasn't him either. He was absolutely shocking. And then to go and get that red card, it was shocking. For me, I wouldn't have pushed him that far out. I mean, he made the decision to push him back. For me, I think Kepa was high up the box who could have came out and saved it. But again, does he trust his keeper? Probably not. And that comes down to communication of the team. Cucurella should be marking his man. And it comes down to the midfield who was sitting too far up. So it's a whole team effort for me on that Chilwell thing. But Chilwell was still absolutely fucking horrendous. He was garbage today. Same as Rich James. And for me, why? Lampard was supposed to come in and get these kids to thrive again. And for me, it's not Lampard's fault. I'm not going to come out and blame Lampard. Lampard's already shit. It's all Todd Boehly. Todd Boehly came in from last year, sacked Tuchel because Tuchel left him on red on WhatsApp, so we had to sack him. Brought in Graham fucking Potter, one of the worst managers I've ever seen in my fucking life. And I said, day one.
Can we keep the swearing down a little bit?
Sorry, Terry. It's like the third time you tell me. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But and then he comes in, he gets to Graham Potter. I said, day one, Terry. I said, day one, Graham Potter needs to go. Because Graham Potter is a rubbish manager. Then he sacks Graham Potter, brings in Lampard. For me, why don't you bring in a permanent manager now. What was Enrique was waiting at the door. He brought a whole PowerPoint presentation. He's waiting to walk through those doors, but instead, to make the fans happy, to give us a PR stunt, he brings in Frank Lampard. We had a chance, guys. We had a chance to go through and try and win the Champions League because we're not going to be playing Champions League for 2 years. But instead, we get rid of our hope, we kill our hope, and we bring in this game as well. The subs Lampard did just summed up this guy is absolutely clueless. To bring on Gallagher and Mount for Kante and Thiago Silva, our two best players, for then bringing on our two worst players, it just summed up this whole game and summed up our whole season. How these decision makings is horrendous. No matter who the manager is, these decision makings is absolutely horrendous. So coming into the next Madrid game, as I said, nothing's going to happen from that. It's shocking, absolutely shocking. I mean, the only thing positive is that Ben Chilwell's not playing, so at least he can have a rest for a couple more games. So for me, as well as Kepa at the back, I thought Kepa had a bit of a decent game. He was very involved in this game, which is something you don't want to do. You don't want to involve your keeper. He was over involved. But again, that second goal was horrendous. Why didn't he get a finger to it? And it comes down to, I think, his height. He is very short. And I'm saying coming next season, we've got to get a taller keeper. People say Mendy's that guy. Mendy's far from that guy. Mendy's done his finish. Sell Mendy. Bring in another keeper next season, compete with Kepa, and then next season we can see whether we can keep or sell Kepa. So let's see how this season done. But Bowie for me is the one to blame. I think I was really hyping him up last season when he joined. I was really happy when he joined, but he's just stuffed up this whole season. And then to come out and say we're going to win 3-0 is even more of an embarrassment. He makes his club an embarrassment every single week, and he keeps doing it. He needs to resolve this issue. Stay out of football. Stay in on your private jet somewhere else, and let the football come down to the managers.
I think you're right there in terms of ownership. Have got to take a massive a slice of responsibility for this. The appointment of Frank Lampard is diabolical. I know proper Chelsea were like, yeah, this is great. I still can't believe they were pushing the narrative that he would galvanize the dressing room. He got sacked because he lost the goddamn dressing room before. It's just nonsensical, It's honest to God. Like, I'm English, but doesn't mean I know how to Morris dance, Just because he's proper Chelsea doesn't mean he knows how to run Chelsea. It's just an absolute cluster. Obviously we've got Daniel. Daniel, you there?
Yes, I'm here, man. I'm here. How are you?
Where you been? I've not seen you in ages.
Oh, mate, you're gonna make it seem to your public that it's because Chelsea are losing, but that's never me. Of course, it's not me.
The last time I saw you, I think you guys were just giving Tuchel a new contract.
No, that's not true.
See, we ain't spoke on camera or anything about this for a while.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your thoughts on everything going on at Chelsea right now, Danny, my boy.
I don't even know where to start, man. But I've missed the Terrace, though. To be fair, it's just like work and everything. It's just been crazy, innit? So obviously, it's good to come back and give my take. I don't even know where to start, but obviously, I don't want to take too long. But essentially, what it comes down to is, and give or take, is what you want to believe, what you want to choose as the biggest reason. And I've broken it down into a couple of reasons, innit? So obviously, if we go back and start the story from Todd Bowley and Thomas Tuchel, at the end of the day, what it comes down to is when a new owner comes into a club, despite Thomas Tuchel obviously only wanting to manage and just wants to coach and da-di-da-di-da, we were in a situation where you just couldn't do that. We've come into a situation where Czech Marina have left. You've been given a bigger role. And obviously, you want to impress your new owners. You need to do more. You need to make more of an effort to be a good employee at the end of the day. Yes, he didn't sign up for it, but at the end of the day, no one signed up for it. So as much as Todd Bowley is to blame in terms of results on the pitch, sacking a world-class manager, I still have blame for Tuchel's part because he should have done a better job in trying to want to be in charge. If you want to be there, then you'll do a much better job in having a better relationship with your manager. And at the end of the day, look, our managers, we all have jobs. Our managers sometimes say things that we are like, what are you even talking about? But at the end of the day, you get on with it because that's who pays your check. So you just keep it going like that. Fast forward, you have Graham Potter who's in charge. And to be fair, look, at the end of the day, they went for a guy who's up and coming. If it went one way, if it went positive and there was enough to believe in him, people wouldn't really complain. I can tell you that Graham Potter had a bare minimum expectation of trying to get into the top 7, Europa League finish, and he'd still be in the job. It's the fact that it was so porous and there was no justifiable reason to keep him in charge and there was nothing to cling on to, and then added on into the fan unrest and whatnot that led to his ultimate sacking. Then the final one, where I'm seeing people say that Lampard's appointment was great from a PR perspective. That is even what made me so frustrated, that we've gotten to a place as Chelsea Football Club where we are hiring someone as the manager to lead the first team, where we want to win trophies, we want to build for the future because of PR, so that we can look good, so that we can feel good, so that we can almost look as if, like, yes, we're taking our time, we're being methodical and logical with our approach. It's nonsense, mate. It's nonsense. You're talking to people who have seen how managers have been appointed. Like, we're not idiots. Really and truly, what should have been done is you keep Potter till you're able to find a replacement. If you've made a decision to fire Potter, you keep Potter in the job till you're able to find a replacement. Putting in Bruno, someone under Potter's coaching staff, someone who's obviously not going to want to stay because that's his guy, makes no sense. So then rushing and just saying, all right, cool, let's bring in the Lampard because he's out of a job. When has anyone in the history of football been sacked from a side in the same season that are almost going to get relegated, that have to bring in, yes? And you talked about Big Sam being a better option. The reason why Sean Dyche came in to Everton is because they know he's capable of doing what needs to be done to adapt to the players that he's been given and get the results needed to push Everton up. Everton aren't qualifying for Europe, but they need to finish in a better position. That's the same thing needs to go for us. Like, the same thing needs to go for us. We need to finish in a better position. At the end of the day, of course, nothing's going to come about from this season, but you need to aim high. You need to look for something better than going for someone. Forget Lampard being sacked initially under a different regime. I'm not even talking about that. He got sacked from a side that almost got relegated. When have we ever seen in the history of the Premier League someone get sacked from a side that almost got relegated and then get the job of one of the biggest teams in the world, let alone England? And obviously, my man, I've not met you, and I know you're shaking your head, and you're probably going to have a response to Lampard being hired, but there's absolutely no excuse to put in Lampard in place. It's almost like Manchester United sacking Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and then saying, yeah, let's bring back Giggs because he managed one game in charge. PR, let's feel good. If I say to you now that Ralph Rangnick, undercover and is still not respected, was probably one of the best appointments that the Glazers could have ever made because it uncovered a lot of truths. It's almost basically the reason why maybe the Glazers have been pushed to the edge and want to sell. And then they brought in Eric Ten Hag, who, do you think Eric Ten Hag, fair enough, if he has beef with whoever comes in, then he probably gets sacked and whatnot. But the quality of manager is there. If he's able to agree and he shows the new managers what he's capable of doing with his current side, he's already won a trophy with Manchester United. If he's able to get something sorted, you've got a budding relationship there going forward. And it's just, just as the final point, it's on top of just everything that's happened at Chelsea, I think you have to be the most obtuse. And I wasn't able to give this opinion when Potter first came in, but you have to be the most obtuse of fan if you thought that Potter was the man for the job, especially given the fact that Brighton, yes, they played great football, but what was Brighton's biggest problem? They couldn't score goals. What was another one of Brighton's biggest problems? In all the things that Potter did well, they never finished above. What, did they ever get a top half finish? I'm not sure about that. I don't think they did under Graham Potter. So, like, we need to really reevaluate what we're saying as fans.
No, true. Potter needed a stepping stone before a Chelsea and Everton, a Tottenham. He needed. You guys are too big in the modern day game to be taking punts on managers like him. I think a lot of us kind of got suckered in on the hype train with Graham Potter, as it were. Some people didn't. Some people did. You go back and you look at it, and the biggest turning point for me was his first couple of games, and I go back to it. When the man turned up with a fade and a new suit, I knew there was problems because that isn't him. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that isn't him. It isn't how you look or how you dress. Man look awkward. And we've all seen people, especially for girls normally. I had a friend once. I don't know if you guys had these in your area. There was a little trend where a lot of white kids started dressing like grungers, like Fred Durst. Do you know what I'm saying? Red baseball cap backward. There was a friend of mine, and this guy was always like me in tracksuits, you know what I mean? Tracksuits and kind of, I don't know what you call it. We shopped in JD and Foot Locker, right? That's how we dressed. And he come and met us one night with his new girlfriend he was seeing, and she was a grunger. Man turned up in these weird, grungy, baggy jeans, a black leather jacket, and a red baseball cap turned backwards. We were like, what the fuck is this? Are you Fred Durst? That's how I felt about Graham Potter when he turned up. It's like, yo, why are you dressed like that? Why is the hair cut like that? You trimmed the bit, man. man looked homeless for a year doing well, and then suddenly started dressing like that. It was crazy to me. And
Sorry, let me just say one thing to what Dan just said there.
yeah,
Dan,
go on, bro, go on.
pretty much everything that you said is facts, and I agree with you 100%. But the only thing that I can't agree with is you saying we should have kept Graham Potter any longer than what we did, right? And the reason why I say that is because, especially if you go to the games, I'm not saying anyone who goes to the games is more important than others who watch the game from home, right? But when you're actually at the ground and you feel how toxic it became and how negative the whole environment was, it just got to a point where it became untenable. We had to get rid of him. I agree. I would have never hired Frank Lampard. Ideally, I said it to all these guys here. I wanted them to find a new manager, hopefully in time for Real Madrid, because the main reason is I wanted the new manager to come in and hopefully start to prepare for next season. You know, see out who the dead weed is in his team, get all the dead wood out, work out who that is, because in pre-season you're still going to have to do the same job that the new manager is going to have to do now. But in pre-season, it's a shorter period when you've got to actually look at the players that you want to get rid of. Whereas if you come in now, you can work out, right, I want to get rid of this guy, I want to get rid of this guy. In the season, in pre-season, it's a whole reset. You can start afresh from the beginning because you've worked out who you want to get out already, barring the players that have got to come back from loan, etc., etc. But with Graham Potter, he had to go. The main problem is Todd Bowley took too long. And the reason why he took long is because he had to make it out as if they were given in chance after chance. Because again, they gave him a 5-year contract. This is their first appointment. They've sacked an elite manager. So that's why they had to take as long as they did. I don't agree with it. I don't agree with it at all. But that's the reason why we're in this mess. Because if we sacked Graham Potter, let's say in January or before the World Cup, we would have never got Frank to come in. And if we did, it would have been for a game or two. Do you know what I'm saying? Pay as you play sort of contract. That's it. And then we would have got someone in. But it's because they've left it so late now and they want to make sure they're making the right appointment. That's why we are where we are. But I did not expect Frank Lampard to be here. So I don't agree with him being here. But it is where it is now. That's why I've checked out. Bro. Everything that you said, I agree with. But with keeping Graham Potter, we couldn't keep this guy. Sorry, I've been at the bridge numerous times and away as well. It's been toxic, bro. We had to get rid of him.
Bro, like,
we had to get rid of him.
This whole season, yeah. If you're a Chelsea fan watching this on the stream, the season was done from like, boy. No, the Champions League win didn't cover any cracks for me. Like, my thing is, going back to Daniel's point about where it began, like, it's begun from literally, I'm not even lying, it's Romans here. Like, we've been in decline for, not a major decline where it's eye-opening, but a decline for a number of years where they weren't making the right signings. We bought Lukaku. People forget who bought Lukaku. People forget who's buying Zappacosta and all these man. The recruitment's been poor, or not the best it's been for years. And Todd Bowley, the whole situation with Ukraine, I'm not going to touch on that. That happens. Todd Bowley comes in. He also makes loads of mistakes. Some players shouldn't be there. Some players are there who aren't really good enough to be here anyway. You got some young players who ain't experienced enough. Then he tries and punting with a young manager. It's all a cluster of problems. Our season right now isn't because of one or two issues. It's because of many issues. So if you've been a reasonable Chelsea fan, you'll understand that. In my opinion, I don't think these issues aren't rectifiable quickly. I think they can be. For example, you get rid of the dead squad, you get a world-class manager in, maybe Enrique and arguably trust in him, and you let the man at the top, Todd Bowley, take a step back and actually let the football people do the football work. And then hopefully using that, we move forward. But I don't think it's a simple fix straight away. But I don't think at the same time it will take us years and years and years to get back. Because we've got the core foundations in this squad to be doing better than this. But to blame Potter and all that, Potter was, let's be honest, guys, like, if he had done a mad work at a club, that would be a miracle because he hasn't got a track record at a big club. Like I was saying, Brighton as well, he was good. It wasn't like groundbreaking where he's getting top 6 and all that. It was really good for the level it was. So we've got to keep level, understand that like right now is a very, very growing period.